Hi everybody, Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. As you can see by the post, I got a call. Quite an interesting call from the Social Security Administration. And of course it wasn't a live person. It was a true dead person. You like that one? A true dead person. Anyway, this voice recording comes across and it's talking about some kind of criminal charges that are being legally enforced through my Social Security account. And supposedly it was from the Social Security Administration office in El Paso, Texas. Now, I've only been to Texas once in my life, and it was in El Paso, but it was just Paso and through. I've lived here in Iowa most all of my life, and so I don't have any dealing with Social Security Administration down there, let alone the fact I ain't had dealing with Social Security Administration in many years. And now all of a sudden I get a call from them claiming some kind of criminal acts being legally enforced on the debt side of my Social Security account. Well, if you people remember, here a while back I posted a thing on the, it's called TOP, T-O-P, it's Treasury Offset Program. I placed a photo of it, a screenshot on November 18th, and it's got a number on there, 1-800-304-3107, and that's going around. And here recently it picked up and it's starting to go around again. But I had to amend it because what I did when I got this call, of course they give you a number to call them back. And generally that's what most people do, is if a debtor or if a creditor is calling you for debt, you call the creditor back to ask them what's going on. I don't do that. See, the Treasury Offset Program, if you call them and you want to know if you have a public or private debt being claimed against your account, you give them your Social Security number and they'll find out. And they'll tell you. It's the same thing as a UCC-11 when you fill out a UCC-11 lien information for the Secretary of State, trying to find out if there's any lien on that name. You don't have to do that. You can just call them up in Treasury. So that's what I did. But when I called that number, 1-800-304-3107, I got a bunch of Spanish-speaking people because I called it 3 different times to verify. And so here's what happened, folks. If you look at my post on November 18th, I posted the picture with the top, Treasury Offset Program. And what I did at that time is I called them and I asked them about it, and they told me there's no debts, public or private. And then later on in December, I did the same thing. I called them up again. And this time, instead of posting the picture, I made a post and I explained how I called them up and what numbers you press on the phone pad to get to the automated sequence that will tell you whether there's a debt being claimed on public or private side. And so I instead of just posting a picture with a little note, this time I posted a text explaining exactly step for step what happened. Well, then I turned around and I called again in January. And the same thing, no results. This time I didn't make a post on it. Well, then that post started going around again, and somebody contacted me and said that they had called, but it's no longer automated, and that they actually got a live being on the other end, and they freaked and hung up. And because then all of a sudden they didn't know what to do. Well, all you got to do is just ask them. I've got somebody claiming to be a creditor and claiming that I owe him a debt, and I'd like to find out if you could tell me if there's a debt being claimed on my account, either on the private side or public side, and they're glad to tell you. It's that simple. It takes less than 5 minutes. And there's no other details you need to give them or anything. Just tell them your name and that a creditor is claiming a debt, and you'd like to find out. Here's my Social Security number. Let me know if there's a debt being claimed on either private or public side, and they'll do that. And so I called that number again, like I said, but 3 times, and it came across as a Spanish-speaking person. And so I did some research, and I came up with a new number for it. And so I updated that post, and I'll update this video. I should have done that before I posted this video. But I'll update the new number to the Treasury Offset Program so you can go ahead and start doing that again. And those people that are passing around that picture post, I did update that with the new number, so pay attention. Don't just look at the picture and call that number. Yeah, I had to update it up in the text part of that post. But anyway, on with the call now. So I called up the new number, and it's 1-888-826-3127. And they ask, of course, it's automated, and they ask, of course, if you're English or Spanish or whatever, and you push 1 for English, and then they ask you or they give you 3 different options, and you want to push number 3. You want to push number 3. And that will put you through to somebody that will then be able to look on your record, public or private side, and tell you if somebody's claiming a debt. And like I said, it's that simple. If you have anybody claiming any kind of debt, and I don't care, like I said, I don't give a fuck who they are. So when they call up claiming that there's Social Security Administration, claiming that there's a debt being enforced, I don't care if they're standing right there in front of me. I don't give a fuck. It ain't my debt. I am not a debtor. I wasn't born into debt. I was born in abundance, with a bound to the things that were already freely given. I owe nothing. So anytime anybody claims any debt in any manner, all you got to do is call it Treasury Offset Program. They're the ones that the debt goes through. Whether it's your person, their person, whether you want it or not. Anybody claims a debt in today's society, in America, on America, at America, the United States is obligated for all debts, public and private. Plain and simple. Period. Anyway, I just wanted to hop on real quick and explain that to you. Because like I said, I don't give a fuck if it's Social Security. I've already told them, fuck you. You're trying to defraud me. Contributions. You've had all these millions of people convinced that they're making payments on the presumption that they're required to in order to get a job, to fill out a Social Security application, specifically calling it an application under the presumption that they're going to get old age pension funding for retirement purposes by making these payments, but then classifying them as Medicaid or Medicare qualified government employees, but not treating them as employees, and therefore only giving them partial benefits because they're only making contributions to the state, who then makes the payment and gets full benefits. And remember, people, I keep telling you, Title IV is a military insurance, and it's instituted at a hospital, which is a military institution, and it's all done with intent of a financial gain, an economic substance, because the information that was abstracted onto a piece of paper from an event of your coming to being also included other information that had absolutely nothing to do with you, with yourself, but the time and the information given of that event. And that's a birth registration number given out by the IMF, and then formatted several ways through different numbers, called the Social Security number, that is formatted the way it is on the front of your Social Security card. And then without the dashes, that's a different format, and that is known as your Exemption ID Number. And then you flip that nice card around and you flip it over and you see a letter and 8 numbers, either in blue or red. That letter dictates 1 through 12, A through L of the alphabet. And then if you convert it to its numerical equivalent and place that in front of the other 8 digits and add a 0, that format is your exemption account number. It's either 10 or 11 digits, and the number with the letter you see is the routing number of the Federal Reserve Bank that pooled account resides in. And remember, that birth registration number is a number in a series of numbers of people that are born in that area on that day that are pooled as one account. And that's why that measly little 1 penny on every gallon of gas makes a big, huge difference. 1/10 of a cent times 327 million people is still 32,700,000 if you buy 1 gallon a day. Think about this stuff, people. Those are some big numbers, all because of one little number attached to your birth register or some birth registration, portraying, unlawfully conveying Yeah, another thing, people, look at all your $1, dollar for dollar Federal Reserve notes. And you see that 8-digit number with the letter in front of it. That's somebody's routing number on that Social Security card. When that card is issued and that obligation has been established, just like the Vatican hands over an account book that says there's a certain sum of funds available when a new nation is chartered through the UN,